First, I want to give you Asher Kayach to the Fishlers for opening up their home to this special shiur. I'd like to say, give a bracha, I guess, on behalf of all of us. It's not been the first time, it won't be the last time. It's Hashem. Their home should always be open to be marbeh, to increase kvayt shemayim, to make Kiddush Hashem, and of course, to sharing its simplest in their family. I want to give also Asher Kayach, who always likes going under the radar, but to David Winzelberg, who first brought this idea to us and followed it through, never dropped the ball, to the point of even bringing Mickey here to begin with. And he should only continue to be Zeicha himself, to be Marbeh, Kvayt Shemayim, Zeicha the Marbet's Torah, to this community and to beyond. One thing that struck me, and obviously we're all here to hear what Mickey has to say, so I'll only spend a few minutes. One thing I keep on hearing over and over again throughout this entire tzara called tragedy that we're going through, that we're midst of, is to how much can we possibly bear? On one hand, we see clearly HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we know HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you exist. You're around. The Yad Hashem. Oh, how much? And why do we have to suffer more? Haven't we gone through enough? Someone last night had come over. He was struggling with this on a personal level. A friend of his, a very close friend, someone who he himself has been around the home a lot. The nephew was just diagnosed with the Anamachla and is starting treatments. And you see the child, the 13-year-old child, and you just say, knowing the family situation, they've gone through enough. Why? Why an innocent child? And of course, we're not here to give answers because we don't have the answers. But I think one thing is clear what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is showing us, and I think if we internalize that in some way, we'll be a lot better. And hopefully, we'll be nearing the end. It's a well-known mashal. The secular world has taken it in one way, but it comes from the Svarim. As to be it as every story you want to tell it, that there are times when you see this either on the beach, and you see these two sets of footsteps, and there are times when it's only one set. You go through your life, you see it corresponds to your difficulties and your easy times. When it's easy, you see there's two steps, two sets. And when it's difficult and it's challenging, you see there's only one set. And you cry out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and you say, Keli, Keli lo ma'azaftani. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, why have you forsaken us? Why have you left us? When it got difficult, you're not there next to me. What happened to you? And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of course, answers back. This has been the situation throughout the Nevi'im. And he tells us, you're mistaken. When things were good, when things were easy, I was next to you. There was no need to support you in too strong of a manner. But when times got difficult, those footsteps were mine. And I was carrying you on my shoulders. In other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was saying, yes, for some reason I have to give you this struggle. And I have to give you this challenge. And you think you have it worse than everybody else. But I'm supporting you. I'm there the entire time. When Klal Yisrael came back to Harugei Beitar, Klal Yisrael comes back from Golus. We're in exile for so long. And we come back to the city of Beitar and we see millions, according to some shittas, even the most lenient, perhaps hundreds of thousands of Jews, their bodies, their corpses across the entire city. But they're whole. They're intact after so much time has lapsed. It's a miracle. And what do we say? Baruch hatoiv u'meitiv. One of the brachas, the last bracha of benching, is given thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for this unbelievable miracle. Not only that, this is one of the reasons why we say on Tu B'Av, the week after Tisha B'Av, is one of the happiest days of the year. Now imagine for a moment, you think you come back to Europe, you've been away for a few years, you come back to after the Holocaust, and you see all the bodies just lying there, millions of them. Oh, what a Yom Tov! What a tremendous simcha, what a tremendous day of happiness. Now we finally get to bury them properly. And I thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for keeping them intact, so they can be zeicha, they can merit to have Kever Yisrael to be buried accordingly. This is a simcha. This is an excuse to make a bracha. A baruch atoiv u'meitiv. Thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for being always the one who's so good and constantly giving. This is the times of one of the few days of the year we have such a Yom Tov, such a happy day. But the teretz, to put it very shortly, is as HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us, when Nismar David, through David HaMelech, through his Tehillim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we know, is compared to a shepherd. He's the roya, he's the shepherd. And we're the flock, we're the sheep following. And he says, Hashem Roi, when you treat HaKadosh Baruch Hu as the shepherd, Lo Yechser, we don't lack anything. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows exactly what his sheep need. There are times when sheep want to be lazy, not move. The shepherd's got to give them a little hit to move a little more. There are times when they want to graze out in dangerous areas and he has to corral them in. That's the job of a shepherd. It's uncomfortable. It's painful at times. Sometimes it's downright, you feel close to death. That's how painful and sorrows that we go through sometimes. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu ultimately to realize that Hashem Roi Le'etza, to the point where David HaMelech could say, and he lived an entire life full of sorrows beyond our wildest imagination. And yet David HaMelech could say, Gam ki elech v'geitz al mavis. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, Lo ira ra, I'm not afraid. Why? Ki ata imadi. Because you are with me. That nechama, that chizuk of knowing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with us at any given time, that is the greatest chizuk that we could possibly ask for. When we realize that, there's no greater simcha. Our entire purpose in this world is just to get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a few mere years that we're here in this world. We're just preparing ourselves for the future. And our job is just to get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The closer we get, the greater of the eternity of a nitzchias and of Eyal Mahava that we have. Albeit being extremely painful during these few difficult years that we are here. But that's ultimately what we're here for. Ki ati modi, to get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we ask, how could it be Tuba of such a happy day? When we're looking at the millions of bodies strewn about, we get to bury them. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling us one thing. Ki ata imadi, I'm with you. Yes, we had to suffer. Yes, you had to go to Golus. You erred. You made mistakes. You did Averis. The tikkun HaKlali in general. Klal Yisrael needed a tikkun. This is what had to be gone. But I showed you, by keeping them intact, I'm here the entire time. I did it. Shiftachu mishantacha hemi nachamuni. My hitting, my patch, my guiding you this way and that way, even though it's difficult for you. That's the nechama. That's the chizuk. Because we realize Hashem is with us the entire time. You look at what's going on. We don't ask for these tzaras. But just imagine what these three boys, who they were kidnapped, and the entire Klal Yisrael could have easily been, we found it right away, as it came out afterwards, that they were killed right away. But instead it was 2 weeks of the entire world getting together, davening, learning, taking on chesed, and then to see this entire operation now unfold as we're in the middle of all of this, and how many lives perhaps have been saved because of it, and how Klal Yisrael has gotten closer. Closer to what? Closer to each other, but ultimately closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And as we see at one time, yes, there's a pain, it's sorrows of 40 plus soldiers being killed. You can imagine each family, what they're going through, what their communities are going through, what Eretz Yisrael is under. And of course, Klal Yisrael at large, for those who were able to empathize properly, understand that sorrow. It's shreklach. It's painful beyond imagination. But at the same time, you look at the Nisa. As HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, for some reason, this is part of the plan. But ki ati imadi, I'm with you. I'm with you the entire time. Ima anaycha b'tzara. And the rockets, and how the terrorists themselves could say, we shoot them in one direction, and their God throws them in a different direction. It's not to be believed. But one thing we see clear is this Yad Hashem, this hand of Hashem that's involved in our lives on a moment-to-moment basis. I want to thank, I want to applaud, I want to give a tremendous yasher koyach to Mickey for being able to say the story, to come out to America, which of course we just feel totally, we can't connect properly, we can't deal, we're struggling to comprehend our own emotions and our own feelings, and to be brave enough to come out there and share that with us, which is something which is astounding. I think I got to give you a tremendous yasher koyach. But ultimately, Mitzvah Hashem, as we get together, as we hear the story, as we hear the Divrei Chizuk, and as Mickey's able to share that with us, that's all part of the Ki'ati Madi. That's the Marvik Kveit Shemayim that we have together. Wanting to uplift ourselves, wanting to get together, to inspire, to get more closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to see the Yad Hashem and everything. So we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu at this time, Yoimar L'Tzaraseinu Dai. Please, just say enough to our tzaras, that we've gone through enough, because we realize ultimately that we're not afraid. We're not afraid. We're walking in the valley of the shadow of death. Klal Yisrael as a whole, in contrast to the world, is walking in the valley of the shadow of death. But we're not going to be afraid. Lo yirara, ki ate yonti, because we know you are with us the entire time. May HaKadosh Baruch Hu say an end to all of this and bring the Geula b'mehera b'yameinu. Amen.
The Rav mentioned about the tubab and the bodies being kept intact. Something that I don't think the news really picked up on. And it was shared during the eulogies at the funeral for Eyal and Aliyah was that 18 days after they found the bodies were intact. They were, the scientists and the people who were autopsy, whatever they do, they were astounded at being hidden underground for so long in those conditions, and the bodies were fresh in a way. Like since I mentioned, coming from Israel now, with to say the least, there's a lot going on, especially being 20 years old, so finally understand what the meaning of war in Israel is, or anything in Israel is, now that the guys who are fighting and the people who are there right now are my age. My older brother Eyal is there now, by Gaza. We had a boy in yeshiva who last week lost his foot, and one of the boys yesterday, Balkai Shul, from the yeshiva, was also killed. I didn't plan to speak about, because it just happened yesterday, about Balkai, but a few words about him. He learned right. He went to the army this past summer, but up until then, last year, he learned right behind me. Balkai always had these red eyes. I always thought he had like a medical condition that he had red eyes. But the fact of the matter is that here in Israel, the guys, there's Madam, right? There's the Magin David Adom. And the guys who volunteer in Magin David Adom, those are usually like high schoolers. Usually you go through Madam for high school, and then before you go into yeshiva or whatever you do, the army, whatever, you get out of Madam. But Balkai, while he was in yeshiva, was still doing shifts for Mada, so he would learn during the day, and then at night he would do Mada, which is explained the red eyes because he was always tired. And then on top of that, when he went to the army, and he would come back after 2 weeks of the army of not sleeping, he went to Jerusalem to do another double shift of Mada. That's these are the type of guys that we're talking about. But with all of that, and many more of my friends, and I'm sure people here know someone or knows a family who knows a family who has somebody who's been affected by this whole situation. And coming from Israel and having to leave yeshiva and having to do all of this, there's only really three small words that I learned in kindergarten, and usually you hear the birthright kids singing it afterwards, but Am Yisrael Chai. That's the only thing that really comes to mind when, even with all these tzaot and all these 50, I don't know what the number is now, number of dead, but Am Yisrael Chai. That's the only thing that really matters, and the only thing that really speaks out during this time. Even with all the bad. And the saying goes, a small amount of good can little ore can push away a lot of the darkness. So when we see a lot of light that's coming out of this, that darkness has no chance. So we're going to talk about Eyal, a little background about the yeshiva. She was a Shavir Chavon. Shavir Chavon is in the heart of the Jewish community in Chavon. It's a yeshiva gvoa, meaning the guys come for, it's not a Hezir yeshiva. Guys who want to come for as long as they want to. Whereas in like a Hezir yeshiva, you might come for like a year and a half, and then you go to the army for 2 years, and you come back to yeshiva for a year and a half, or whatever it is. Guys come for as long as they want to in yeshiva. They stay for as many years as they want to, and then they go into the army for as many years as they want to. There are a bunch of yeshivas like that in Israel. Something that defines, I think, Shabbat Chavruon. One of the reasons why I went there, and I know Eyal went there, is because of the motivation that the guys understand that the learning Torah is not to be, of course, it's to be a Talmid Chacham, and if that's what you're striving for, then you can do that. But up until you maybe become a Talmid Chacham, and you might leave yeshiva before you actually become a Talmid Chacham, the fact is that every letter and every word of Torah that comes out of your mouth, and everything, every minute and second that you're in the Beit Midrash, and you're doing something connected to Torah, you're helping Am Yisrael, you're helping Klal Yisrael. That's our weapon. It's the strongest weapon that we have. It's proven for the past couple thousand years that when there's Torah and there's people learning Torah in any place, it's good for the Jewish people. We see with return to Eretz Yisrael and yeshivas. Now there's a yeshiva that any kid who's coming out of 12th grade and wants to learn in yeshiva can find a yeshiva that specifically meets his needs. There's yeshivas where kids with special needs, kids with, he wants to also get a degree and also this and also that. Guys who want to just learn Shas, guys who want to learn Shas and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You'll find your yeshiva. That's something that's new, and you can see the effect that it has on the country and the world itself. But it takes a special type of guy to come to yeshiva, to know that he's going to take 2-3 years out of his life. That's 2-3 years that he's pushing off the university, and that's also knowing that he has to do the army before he does university, if that's his plan. So if I go to yeshiva for 2 or 3 years, and I know that I have another 3 years of the army ahead of me, but I'm still willing to do another 3, maybe 3.5, 4 years of yeshiva, it takes a special type of guy with a strong enough nefesh to be willing to put off 7, 10, whatever, 5 years of your life just to Am Yisrael. The army for Am Yisrael, the yeshiva for Am Yisrael. Like I said, it's not about how much I come out knowing, or how much, if I'll be able to be a teacher afterwards or not be a teacher afterwards, or whatever it is. The fact is I'm learning Torah, and then afterwards I'm going to the army, and both of those things, equal or not equal, for Klal Yisrael. That's what matters. And I know that's why Eyal, he came to the yeshiva in the beginning of Zivan Kites. Zivan Kites, just probably almost 5 months ago, maybe 6 months ago now. He started off in a program in a similar place in it's a yeshuv called Eyal. Eyal is more of an army preparation place where the army guys come usually. It's less Gemara, more machshava, more getting your head ready for the army, the struggles that you're going to face there. And it's, to tell you the truth, it's like the number one, like the characteristic of like a typical Israeli teenager who wants to go into some elite unit, and he also wants to be religious, and he has has that whole vision. So those like Eyal is like that, is that meets that. That's really a number one place, and for that reason, the guys who go to Eyal, even if they don't find themselves, don't find their place in Eyal, they don't leave. Eyal understood that while he was in Eyal, although he was in a special place, and a place where it's a lot of pressure to succeed and a lot of pressure to be as religious as possible and learn as much Torah, but at the same time they're expecting that you're gonna go have a long successful army career or elite unit while presenting yourself as a religious Jew, and that he was in a perfect situation for that, and I know that was one of his goals. Aside from that, he understood that where he wanted to succeed and where he wanted to push himself right now was Torah. He wanted to learn, and he knew to go to the place to do that, he had to take himself out of that situation, which is hard enough in itself to do, and then go to a place like Shabbat Chavruon, which is hard enough to take it upon yourself to go there because of the amount of learning and the amount of this. But he took it upon himself. He actually came. before this man, like more towards the beginning of the year, to check it out. And I asked him like how long he's gonna come for, and he said, I'm just here for the day. He came on Sunday and he didn't leave till Shabbos, after Shabbos. I asked him, well, you're only planning on coming for a day? And he said, I told myself that I'm not choosing to come here until I'm perfectly sure this is what I want. So he stayed the whole week. That's, the guy said the guy has his head on his shoulders. That's, you're talking to the right guy. Nothing what other people told him, not anything that was expected of him really mattered. It matters what Eyal needed to do to improve, what Eyal needed to do to become that person that he's expected to be, that he's meant to be. Another side piece of the story that wasn't told in the news. A month before Eyal got to the yeshiva, Eyal's from a place called Elad. Elad is it's a city, I think, called a city near Petach Tikva and Tel Aviv, in that whole Merkaz area. And a few guys from Elad came to Shavei Chabon this year. One of them was Eyal. Efi, special boy in his own right, was during Bein Hazmanim, beginning of Bein Hazmanim, was killed in a car crash. Efi and Eyal were very close. Efi was the one who told Eyal originally to come to Shavei Chabon to check it out because he thought it might be right for him. So during the beginning of Zman Kais, when Eyal came to yeshiva, he took Efi's spot in the Beit Midrash, and that's where he sat. And he saw himself sort of as he took it upon himself that he was going to continue what Efi started in yeshiva. Coming from a place like Eyal, where most of the basis is around Machshava and not, they also learn Shas and stuff, but to come to yeshiva where you're learning for 10 hours a day of Shas, for anyone, especially a guy like Eyal, who's very active in Bnei Akiva, active in Aliyah, which is another youth movement. He actually started a snif, he started a youth movement in Yafo. Him and another person, they realized that there wasn't a youth movement for the religious teenagers in Yafo. So while he was, I missed a piece, in 12th grade, Eyal wasn't in school. Eyal did a thing called Sheriff. Sheriff is Shministim le'ayarei pituach. Shministim who go to undeveloped cities, 12th graders who go to undeveloped cities to spend their 12th grade there, to be a center of anything that the city really needs amongst the youth or the needy or whatever it is. They learn in a school with everybody for an hour a day or something, and the rest of the time they're busy organizing events or taking care of kids without homes or whatever. That's how he chose to spend his 12th grade year. And he did that in Bat Yam. Bat Yam is not so far from Yafo, and while he was doing that, he started a youth movement in Jaffa. While he was in Bat Yam, he started the Bar Mitzvah project. Bar Mitzvah project, this is how he explained it to me. He explained that there's so many unaffiliated Jews. So when they want to have a bar mitzvah, so they have a bar mitzvah, but there's no real kosher dancing. There's no dancing, whatever. So he would organize that whenever there was a bar mitzvah, religious or not religious, and make sure that at least 20 or 30 older guys would go to the bar mitzvah and make sure there was real serious dancing and there was real simcha. That was his idea. That's how. That's what he did. Along with the seriousness he took the Beit Midrash, every book filled with underlines and summaries and anything you would learn. That's, in short, very short, the type of kid we're talking about. When I say kid, I mean a 20-year-old. Physically looked like a man. I looked up to him like an older brother. I'm a year older than him. But the type of maturity that it takes, the type of responsibility of being the oldest in his house, taking the stories that come out of his brothers, speak to them. He mamash the center figure. They're still groping with the loss of how to fill that void. As you say, my story really comes in the Friday after that Thursday night. Gilad, Naftali, and Eyal were, as everybody knows, they were tramping home in the middle of the night to get home for Shabbat. Only Friday afternoon, early Friday afternoon, it was made aware to the public that what was really going on. I was in Jerusalem listening. I was in a shir, a big rabbi shir, and afterwards I look at my phone. I get a text message from my father, which is like a text message that was being sent around by the police, saying that there were 2 boys missing, Gilad and Naftali. So it's Israel. I only have brothers. So here, two teenagers are missing. I'm not a Jewish mother. I'm kind of relaxed. It's not. I'd rather than be home safely, but the chances that they took like a tool, they went on a hike or something, they're on a reception in their phone, or they forgot to call home, or they're sleeping at someone else's house. It's not. I've done it. They've done it. I mean, it happens. So I really didn't think so much about it. But then I started seeing people whispering. It was like, circles. People were talking to the Rav. Something. I got a feeling that something was going on. Something that I didn't catch on. And I'm the one who made Aliyah with my family 6 years ago. So if I have like the partially American blood and I'm not freaking out, or something the Israelis are really freaking out, and I know that I should start thinking about something to freak out about. I go up to my friend and and I ask him what's going on. So he says there might be a third. So okay, there might be a third. Okay, Shabbos is in 6 hours. It's immature or whatever, but whatever. He says no. He says that's not what's going on. I said, what do you mean? He said usually like 24 hours. It takes 24 hours and the police really get worried. He said, but every elite unit in the army has been called to the Gush area. Police are searching frantically. So it's not normal. So I said, okay, but who's the third? He said, he's the new kid in yeshiva. I don't know, I never met him. So what's his name? He said, Yifrach. Like a darker boy, from Eli. Eyal Yifrach. He's in my room. In Shabbat Chavon, if someone's in your room, he may not be your best friend, but he's the closest thing you have to a brother. In Shabbat Chavon, the rooms are like little families. We do like schnitzel nights, we do parties and birthday parties. And you're learning and you look up for a second from the sefer and you see 100 people in the Beit Midrash, you immediately see who's in your room. You immediately know where they are. Even now I get vision where each one of them, I have like 10 roommates and I know where each one sits and I know where they are right now. So that's Eyal Yifrach. I said, yeah. Now if I wasn't freaking out before, and after I heard the third I wasn't freaking out, when I heard that it was Eyal Yifrach I was much more calm. Eyal Yifrach, from the small stories that I've said already, that just say if I had to get lost and I had to get lost with somebody, it was with Eyal. And if something bad were to happen to me, it would want to be with Eyal. So when they said Eyal Yifrach was one of them, I kind of felt relieved. But still, mainly in shock for not really knowing what else to feel at the same time. coincidentally enough, we hitchhiked back to yeshiva. Suddenly I'm starting to realize what really is going on. I'm starting seeing rumors through WhatsApp, rumors this. They found him, they didn't find him. Start seeing buses of soldiers being bused to Gush. Friends were saying we're on our way. And I like the soldiers, I like the guys, Golani or Givat, we're talking about Seret Matkar, Shadag, Yamas. The top units, what they only use for the top missions. So when they're being called, it's not it's not your average situation. I'm starting to think like Eyal. Just yesterday I gave him like the hardest slap on the back. He spilled his coffee. He was supposed to tell me something. He was gonna wait for Shabbat to tell me. That. He was gonna help this guy. He brought me something 2 days ago. We just talked about something. We were just joking about it. Same Eyal, same kid. He just got here. Anyways, we get back to yeshiva. We got a text message that yeshiva was going to do Tehillim at Mata Machpelah. Start walking down to Mata Machpelah. Sunday, see the guys walking back. We moved into the yeshiva. Back to Mata Machpelah, back to the yeshiva. Balagan. Tehillim at the yeshiva. All the Rabbanim came. All the Avrechim came. So the yeshiva was more filled up than I've seen it in a while. The rabbi starts saying Tehillim. 1, 2. I'm used to saying Tehillim for my friend's mother, my mother's friend, my friend's friend's friend. This name that I've never heard of. He's sick. She needs help. Parnasa, So you say 1, 2 Tehillims. It's only 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's not for Stam anybody. We're talking about Eyal, Yifach. We weren't best friends, but he's in my room. We were just talking about there's, I guess, those moments when life gets pretty real for a second. You start realizing that for as much as I've learned to allow, I say seriously for 2 years right now, and the only thing I could look back and say that I've learned is that how much I don't know. And now that saying Tehillim, I started realizing the power of what I can do with my Tehillim. Sudden vision goes through my head that soldiers are walking through houses right now, soldiers are going through villages. I said probably tonight too. But then they were looking for my friend. And I knew that every Tehillim that I was going to say, every word that I was going to say, would make a difference if their bullet hit the terrorists or didn't hit the terrorists. If they walked into the room and he was there, and if he wasn't there, if they even walked in, if they're in the right area or not in the right area, the general makes a decision. I knew that my Tehillim was going to make a difference, whether if he makes a decision or not makes it the right decision. What are you telling me? What telling? Suddenly someone, I look up, I see 2 guys. Meanwhile, I'm telling God, the Rabbi was talking about before, that I always say we ask for the tzavot. I thought that my friend was missing for 3 hours, and I told him that's enough. God, 3 hours, God only knows what his mother was saying at the same time. I said, no, we got the hint. You wanted everyone to come to the Beit Midrash, you wanted everyone to start thinking that it's possible, you want us to remember you. We got it. You're here. Life's serious. If we forgot it, I don't remember that we forgot it, but if you think that we forgot it, then okay, we're back. Whatever you need. We need a miracle. Let's go. Tanya, I look at my friend Tanya. I see him, his hands up. He's looking to the sky. Toda, toda, toda. Thank you. There's a nis. What a miracle. Thinking about myself, thinking, could it possibly be that I was just davening for a miracle, or 300 guys were just davening for a miracle, and we got a miracle. Now I see the plan. Hashem, I got your idea. You pulled off this whole stunt for a few hours. We're gonna daven. We're gonna daven for a miracle. You're gonna give us a miracle. And now we even more believe in you. Look around and see what's happening. Someone hands me a phone, a long WhatsApp message descripting the most daring raid that the Hamas, one of Israel's top counter-terror units, pulled off, taking out 3 terrorists, no one injured, rescuing Gilad and Naftali, and that shortly afterwards, Eyal was found in Petach Tikva on his way home. The story's over. Everyone could go back to getting ready for Shabbat. Over. And I think what? The rabbi still saying to them because he obviously didn't get the message. So naturally you're feeling, when your father gives you something, you're supposed to say thank you. So I said, fine. We'll say Tehillim just to say thank you. I thought we were going to start dancing, but first we'll say Tehillim, say thank you, and then we'll get to the dancing. It's going to be a great Shabbat. More Tehillim. I'm thinking this is okay, that's, the story's over. So I go to the back of the baby Josh. I look up at my same friend Dania, same one who figured out that there was a miracle. Just by the look of his face, I understood that rumors are a dangerous thing. When someone wants to start a rumor, it could really do some serious damage. That's how we went into Shabbat that way. Usually Shabbat, maybe play basketball, maybe take a time, go to the mikvah, go this, take a shower, listen to music. That Shabbat was, I think, 3 hours before Shabbat. I think everybody was already dressed in white and already in the baby Josh starting to learn. There's no basketball, no taking our time. We understood that our job in yeshiva, there are soldiers out there searching with guns and everything, but our job right now is to learn.